you happy to be outside? Well, I just let the dogs out and they are loving the snow. The snow is still here and it don't seem to be going anywhere for a minute. So we're gonna get over here anyway, and we're gonna, it's about 33 degrees. I just looked. It's about 33 degrees. Oh yeah, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys for stopping by Ken's Oak Farm. We're pruning muscadines today. I'm in the small vineyard. I have 2, 4, 6, and one little teeny weeny row to prune. Won't get to it all today. I was hoping to get it all done this weekend. Not sure, because I've really been dragging my feet. Today is Thursday, so I have Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I go back to work on Sunday. But I want to show you guys at least how I prune. And normally I prune in February, but we're just a week away. But last year I almost didn't finish in time, so this year I thought I'd start about a week early. And of course the snow jumped in on us, but that's okay. It'll be out of here in the next day or so. It's working its way out of here. Still a little chilly, but I just wanted to show you guys how I prune my muscadine vines. I can't make a video without my dog having to use the bathroom right in front of me every time I make a video. Thank you, Mia. All right, you happy now? All right, we're going to start with the small row of Ruby Crisp. I just planted these this past fall or winter back, so they've been out here a year, and they did pretty good. I had one that didn't do all that well, but it'll take off this year. Usually the second year they really take off. But let me show you guys how you prune your first year plants. If you planted them, you grew them through the year, you want to get them pruned up and ready for this next spring and summer growing period. So let me get the camera set up. I'll show you guys how we do some pruning on our first year plant. All right, this is our row of Ruby Crisp. We're going to start at the very first plant. Now, I'll just tell you everything I've done. I didn't put the Blue X tubes on these. Some in my other vineyard, in my bigger vineyard, had the Blue X tubes, but these little 5 plants here, I did not put them on, which is fine. Some people like them, some people don't. I'm either way. Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. But if you have the Blue X tubes on and they've been on for the full year, cut them off. It's time to get them off, because we're going to clean this trunk out. When I clean this trunk up, when I start pruning my plants, I start at the dirt, work my way up, and look for any little side growth that needs to be cut off, because I always want a real nice trunk, nice clean trunk. Okay, and then we split it last year. We cut it. Once we got it up to the wire, we cut it, and it put off 2 shoots. One went that way, one went this way. We had to train it with the little zip ties. We're going to cut these off because now they have the little tendrils that have grabbed hold to the wire, and they will not let go. So next, what we'll do is at the split, we'll want to count our little buds. Here's a little bud, here's a little bud. This one's already been cut. So what I like to do is go about 4 buds. You see this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can give it a little cut, and that's ready for this year. This one, same way, 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Give it a little cut there. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can cut that one. 1, 2, and you sort of work your way down the row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that one's only 3. Yeah, that one's only 3. But you basically just work your way down the row. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna leave that one at 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. No rhyme or reason. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, you're really going to appreciate these first year plants once you start pruning these jokers. Because look at this. These things are an absolute mess to prune. What I do is I take my little shears there. I got some little battery operated shears, and I go up and down each side of the row just to thin this out before I get in here and start pruning. But we'll finish up on these. We'll start down this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these will put on fruit on your second year. Your second year, you should be getting fruit. Now, once my plant gets to the 10-foot mark, I go ahead and stop it right there. Now, this year it'll still try to grow past it, but I just make it a habit to cut all my plants at the 10-foot mark. This is the little one that didn't want to do much, but it finally took off. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean the trunk, just take everything off the trunk. We don't want anything growing on our trunk. We want a nice clean trunk. And see, like this one right here, it got so overgrown last year, which is what we wanted, and put on grapes. We missed some stuff on the trunk. You can see how it's got stuff growing on the trunk. There's 3 big shoots right there. We'll get those cleaned up as well. But you want a nice clean trunk so all your energy is going up and out the wire to produce your grapes down the wire. You really don't want anything growing on your trunk this time through the whole year. Now see how this plant has made it to the 10-foot. I'm gonna cut that off right there. This is be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I get to where I really, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 3. I don't really count that much. I just get to where I start pruning. As long as you give your plant, honestly, a good pruning, it's going to put on some grapes for you. And these Ruby Crisp will put on a ton of grapes. I went to the little muscadine show out there in Tifton that the University of Georgia put on, and they told me that they really wouldn't let these Ruby Crisp put on grapes the first 2 years and possibly 3. They would keep all the grapes off just to get that plant up and not down the wire, but bigger, thicker, stronger, healthier, because these Ruby Crisp can tend to overcrop and cause you not to have grapes the following year, or could damage your plants. You could lose your plants, and we don't want to risk that. So this year I may leave a few just so I'll have some Ruby Crisp, but I will be out here thinning grapes off these Ruby Crisp this year. But this middle plant, my gosh, it really took off compared to the other two. What's up, buddy? Compared to the other two, it just got super thick the first year. It looks great. I'm gonna clean it up a little bit on the trunk. Just give it a little cleaning. I was cutting stuff off of it as it was growing this year. All right. Trying to show y'all. You can, when you get these little vines that do this 1, 2, 3, you can take and cut it something like that. And if you just want some extra growth on there, it really don't hurt anything. But right now I'm just going to try to keep everything single, unless I have a little Y that's close to the main trunk. See, like this one, it's a little further apart, and I'll just cut it there, cut that one there. You see now, let me get this off here. There we go. All right, here's one. As you can see, it sort of comes down and has that little split. I could leave that, cut that, and that'll produce some new growth out of each one of these buds. All your grapes are going to grow on your new. All your grapes are going to grow on your new wood. So when we cut these, 1, 2, 3. When we cut these, they'll put out little shoots, and the vines will grow, and that's where your grapes are going to be. See if I can find you an example over here. Here is kind of an example, if we can get in here and see. Let me put these up. But you can see where I cut right in here, and that new wood came off, and there's where our grapes were right there. There's where our grapes, there's some more where the grapes were right there. But your grapes are going to grow on this new wood. Okay? And just everywhere that you cut, grapes will come off that new wood. I'm trying to find you some more examples, but everything's going to fail. See, here's another example. You can see where we cut here, and that little shoot came out and made a nice big vine. This one came out, and just below it on this vine here, that's where our grapes were. Right there on that new wood. So when we cut this, it'll put out new shoots this year, which will put out grapes on the new shoots. All your new wood will produce grapes. So hopefully. All right, we're back at the post. We're just going to cut that one, cut that one. That plant did really well too. Oh, I don't even want to pull my plant down. All right, we got all that. Oh, this one right here. All right. All right, nice. Oh, missed a couple here. And if you miss some, it's actually okay. Because when we go to pruning all these, my gosh, we miss a ton of stuff. It's just, you're just trying to get through it. I mean, it's just, you're just trying to get through it. So you're going to miss a few, and don't let it bother you, because you're going to get your grapes. These muscadines just don't let you down. A lot of comments about the weather, what I should expect with this weather. Not really sure. It's been getting down in the 20s here at our house, and honestly, not really sure what to expect. I just sort of cross my fingers and hope for the best, and if any die, I just buy some more. That's honestly what I do. When this cold weather comes in, I think I lost 6. The year before last, I lost 6. Had to replant. And last year, I only lost 2. So they're getting stronger. They're getting stronger. I think you just sort of weed out the weak, but that's what I do. You can pile dirt up on them. They say pile dirt up about 1 foot high on the trunk, and that should help protect your root system and all that stuff. But we just have so many plants, I just don't do all that. And my theory is when they get a certain size, once they get real big, I don't think you have to worry as much. You could probably have some cold damage, but they're going to grow. We had one 2 years ago that had a big ball at the bottom, and just like it's like it had frostbite or something, but it really messed up the trunk. But it shot out shoots right from the ground, and we just grew a whole new plant. It took another year or 2, but we had to start over and grow a whole new plant. But muscadines are really tough. Now here's a good example of our little Y situation. You can come and cut that right here at these little buds, and you'll get some good grapes coming off that. All right, we got our zip ties. I may leave that one on there. It don't have anything. This one don't have anything holding it up. I may leave them on. I just have to keep an eye on them and remember they're on there. Last plant. This one didn't do quite as well, but it still did good. I'm happy with it. It didn't make it each way down the wire, but it will this year. So I don't let that bother me if it don't. Usually the first year it's just such a pain. They get really, it's really aggravating the first year. Got another little zip tie, we'll cut that off. Really aggravating the first year, but once they hit that second year, they just, I mean, they take off. That second year, they take off. Them roots are established. You hit them with that fertilizer and water and just really take care of them, and they grow really, really well. All right, I wish they were all gonna be this easy. That was easy. That was easy. All right, I'm gonna put this camera down for a minute. I'll show you guys what we're gonna do with these bigger plants. All right, first let's let these chickens out. They have not stopped squawking, wanting out. They want to come. I don't know if they'll play in the snow or not. I think they're out of food. Yeah, that's what they're going on about. That's what they're going on about. They get out here and get them some grass. I got stuff to do right now. Yeah, let me get out here and see what they want to do in the snow. Look at Mia. She likes to get up here and chase the quail. Mia. She loves to get up there and chase my quail around. All right, I'll show you what we're going to do with these real quick. All right, first thing I'm going to do is right here at the post. Would you let go? Right here at the post, I'm just going to cut this junk right here at the post off. Then I'm going to take it on down and cut all that thick mess off these vines, just to make it where I'm not having to handle so much stuff. All right, now for the fun part. What I basically do is I won't forget when I get to the trunk to check the trunk, because you can see this growth. See that little joker right there? We got to get rid of that one. There's one here. We got to get rid of that one. And there's one way down here. We got to get rid of that one. All right. It is absolutely amazing how long these things grow in a season. It is really amazing. We've seen some come out and just go down like 3 plants long, just way down. But what I'm going to do, let me get these vines out of the way. What I'm going to do is, instead of the 3 and 4 buds over there, I just do 2 buds. Sometimes 1 to 2 buds. Because as you start pruning over the years, all the stuff you cut starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. It just gets further and further away from the main vine. So later on, you'll have to come back and cut some of this big junk out. You have to have some big cutters and cut some of this big junk out, and it will produce new little shoots that you will train over the next few years. And the process just keeps going on and on and on. But if you don't, like this was the very first year we had this plant, it comes out, you prune it, it shoots out, you prune it. The next year, and every year we prune it, it gets further and further away from the main trunk. So they just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you don't want that. You want to keep everything nice and tight. So eventually we'll have to come and cut some of this stuff out because it will get overcrowded in here. But 1 to 2 buds is all I'm cutting. It is cold. 1 to 2 buds. Now if I see anything really crowded in here, I know I keep hitting this camera with all these vines, but if I see anything in here that's really, really crowded, I try to thin it out. And I hadn't done this in a year. It's really cold. But I try to clean this stuff out. And then you just sort of rip and pull. Rip and pull. There's really no rhyme or reason the way you do it. You're just trying to get all this junk off the plant. And it'll get a little crowded. You just have to cut some of that crowded stuff out. Like this one here. Cut that out. All right. Well, I'm not going to bore you with all this. I'll check back in with you here shortly once I get a lot of this stuff cleaned up. But that's all you're basically doing. See, like this right here is really thick. See how all that's growing together? See, I could stand to take this one out and give us some room in here for some grapes to grow. And don't let that worry you. You know, you go, oh man, I'm gonna have a lot of grapes on that little chunk. It's gonna produce a lot of grapes. You can see that new growth right there where the grapes came out. So you can say, man, I'm gonna lose a lot of grapes, but you won't. You can also tend to overcrop your plant. You don't want to do that. You don't want to produce so many grapes that it stresses out your plant, because you may not get grapes the following year, or you could possibly do some real damage to your plant. So don't be scared to thin some of this thick stuff out and give some room for the grapes to grow, because they put on gobs of grapes. I mean, it's amazing. All right, well, let me keep pruning, and I'll get back with you guys shortly. All right, well, I thought I'd stop. It's only been a few minutes. I knocked out one plant and about a half of another. I thought I'd stop and show you guys what it's looking like. All right, you can see I've been sort of cutting out some of the crowded stuff. Like right in here, you see all this? It's just a mess. Now grapes are gonna grow off all this stuff. See all that junk? You don't want all that. I'll come in here and just cut some of this stuff back, because you'll still have growth on this. I can come in here and cut that completely out, and just, and you see how long it's getting away from, over the years, how it's just growing further and further away from the trunk. So eventually we'll start coming and cutting some of this stuff out. So I could come and take this big chunk out, and you'd still have this younger growth here to put on, to put on grapes. But so far, it's looking really good. Clean some of this up. Just did my first little pruning run through here, and just got everything off and then down on the ground. We'll come pick it up after we get done, and see how most of your tight growth is going to be at the main part of the trunk. everything seems to grow a little weaker the further away from the root system. So you really got to keep an eye in here. See how all this is just really trying to grow all together. So I will come in here and cut. I'll come in here and cut that off, and that'll open up some room for some grapes to grow, and hopefully help with us not having too heavy a crop. Now I've never had a problem with overcropping. I've heard that so many times about your plants overcropping. Now I have to say again, I'm not a professional muscadine grower. I just got a lot of plants and I stick with them. Some die and I replant them. I'm learning all the time. But I've heard this overcropping problem so many times, but I've yet to have a problem with overcropping. I prune them heavy in February, prune them down really, really heavy. That gives them a lot of room to grow. I fertilize the mess out of them in the spring, and I dump a lot of water on them. So I really work hard with my plants, and I think that helps. But I've never had an overcropping problem. Now, they say these Ruby Crisps are really bad about overcropping, so I will be keeping an eye on them this year. Look at these guys. They love being out here with Pawpaw. All right, we're going to get him, Mia. Get him. Go get him. Go get him. Get it, Ro. No, not the chickens. Hey, go get me. Go get him. Go get him. Go get him. All right, I got to get back to pruning. All right, as I'm out here pruning, there's things I've been seeing I wanted to show you guys that I talked about earlier. When we see all this overcrowding, we'll come in here and trim some of this stuff out. And as you prune over the years, like I say, this will all start getting bigger and bigger, and you'll end up coming and thinning it out. But one thing I wanted to show you, this is like some new growth that I told you guys will be coming out. These muscadines, they want to work, and they'll push out new growth. So I left 4 buds and cut it. So eventually this will be one of these. And you see here's another one. But you'll start catching that stuff. I missed one. You'll start catching that stuff as you prune. And try not to cut them off. Here's another one. But you'll see little side shoots will come out, and you'll go, oh shoot, another one. And you'll prune it to try to save that. And like I say, this will eventually be one of these. But this could put on grapes this year. This right here could put on grapes. These little buds will put out shoots, put on grapes, and this thing will be working. All right, well there is the damage. Look at all those vines. And I know I'm gonna get a comment or two. What do we do with the vines? Do you make the wreaths, the vine wreaths? I do not. I burn all this junk. There's just tons of them. And this is just a small vineyard. I mean, they're just huge piles. And over there, they get even bigger. We got the big vineyard over there. It's gonna take me every weekend in February to prune. So I'm ahead of myself now. I'm about a week ahead of myself. I looked at the weather, and next Saturday is gonna be rain. So I may be out here pruning in the rain. Because I cannot miss. My daughter will be helping me next week, but it averages about 2.5 hours per row, right at 3 hours per row, and I can't remember how many rows, 19 rows or something like that. There's a lot, but not only after you prune them, you got to clean that mess up. It's the worst. I hate that part. But we cut some with the lawnmower. I just get the majority. I just get the big piles. But it turned out looking good. We got everything pruned out here. Each row took me about 1 hour to 1 hour and 15 to prune. So not too bad. Burned through it. You guys that have muscadines, I can't emphasize enough. You need to prune them. You need to prune your grapes. Because the bigger they get, and every year that you neglect pruning them, they'll put on less and less grapes. They just won't put on as many grapes because the root system can't get the nutrients up to put on the grapes. It's trying to keep that giant plant alive because these things grow so fast. It's absolutely amazing how fast they grow. I prune them. I do a summer prune about knee high 2 or 3 times a summer just to keep where I can cut grass underneath them, because they will grow out into the to the aisleway on both sides. I mean, it's just, they just grow so fast. But like I say again, if you guys have muscadines, please go give them a prune. If anything, just butcher them up real good and get some of that heavy growth off so you can get some really nice grapes this summer. But thanks again, guys. I'm going inside. It is absolutely freezing. I'm tired of the cold. I'm going inside. Thanks again for checking out my video. Go prune your muscadines. And if you haven't got muscadines, start building your trellises now. Get ready to plant a couple. If you got a fence row, check out Ison's Nursery. That's where I get all my tips from, all my plants from, all my growing, all the things I need to grow my muscadines. I get them from Ison's Nursery. So love those guys. Go check them out. But get ready. Let's grow some grapes together. Love you guys to death. We'll see you on the next video.